Welcome back to Eye on South Asia. Let's move on to our next story.
California has not been very positive story for a little bit, I think quite some time, I should say, in the educational front of it. California has got great university. You've got Stanford, you've got UCLA, Berkeley, but somehow or the other, the Indians who have gone into the business of education have not been successful. Institute of Medical Education was recently closed in the Bay Area, and they have had more than 300, 400 students there. And the authorities, which is Department of Consumer Affairs and Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education, have shut it down, both San Jose and Oakland, and they say they don't have enough abilities to sustain it financially. And
they also don't have the proper licenses. They are reporting to cover nursing, MRI technology, ultrasound, and dental hygiene. You have so many students who've paid their tuition, and now they're wondering how to get it back.
The funniest part here is there is no issue on visa here. They have been claiming that they are an accredited institute, and which according to the authorities, which they are not in everything that they are claiming, but they're getting all these students and bringing them here. Now these students, some of them are kind of couple of months away from their graduation.
Yes.
And they're all losing. They have to go find another new school and start all over from scratch. I think one has to be very, very cautious. I know we have a large contingent of Indian students coming to America, almost 80,000 plus, but we should be very, very careful when we are applying for education into this country. Are we going to the right school? It should not be necessarily driven by just get the admission, get the visa, or pay
even just
small fees.
Yes, exactly. Or scholarships, however small it may be, because it could be a way used to entice students coming into a new school like this.
Right at the milestone where you're about to get out and get graduation, you maybe run into a situation like this. Yeah.
Right. But there are ways to get back your tuition, and these students should consult with their university and get that sorted out. So,
while these students who are the good students went to bad university and bad timing, and here is a situation where a student went to one of the topmost universities. I'm talking about Dhruv Ravi, who was a student first year at Rutgers, which is absolutely phenomenal university in the state of New Jersey, and his trial has finally started. And the authorities, especially the Middlesex County First Assistant Prosecutor Julia McClure, who is after him, has told jury very clearly it's about having the decency to respect the choices. And in this case, his roommate, Tyler Clementi, who was 18 years old, was found to be a gay. And somehow Dharun found it. He went to another room, as we've been reporting regularly about this case, and broadcast it on the internet to everybody while he was with his boyfriend.
Right.
And this was a really serious hit to Tyler, and he obviously shared with his parents, and that itself was a shock. And I think he got very depressed and committed suicide from Washington Bridge.
Right. I think there are so many stages of problems that homosexual teenagers are faced with, whether it's bullying or hate speech or some kind of harassment, or even just dealing with the family. And in this case, you have this prank, which is what the defendant's lawyers is calling it.
Stephen Haltman has been all along very, very defensive of Dhruv, that it's just a prank, and he was insisting with the jury that don't make any conclusions yet, don't make any perceptions, just wait for things to unfold step by step by step. And he feels he has enough cards to prove that it was just a prank and not necessarily a cause for creating a murder, as it is called, and leading to a death. On the fraudulent part, as we were talking about this university in California, we have one of the largest, probably the largest immigration firm, which is based out of Chandigarh. They're called Worldwide Immigration Consultancy Services, as we call it, YWACS, which was started by an immigrant who came to Canada and then went back, Mr. B.S. Sandhu. He thought there was a great necessity of an organized agency based out of India, and he opened a beautiful, huge complex, a nice office in Mohali near Chandigarh. And there is a word that there are almost 80,000 plus beneficiaries of his organizations who have been able to make it to their dream destinations. And most of the Punjabis want to go to either Canada or UK or US or sometime New Zealand and Australia also. And they think it's great. But the authorities have said that, the Canadian authorities have said that YWAX does not have the rights or the authority to process work permit visas. They don't have the license to do so. While they are taking this as an offense and calling the operations of YWAX as illegal, the YWAX chairman, as I told you, B.S. Sandhu, says we are not even dealing in visa permits. So we're not getting any work permit visas for these individuals. We are just processing for regular immigration. But in the meantime, they were raided. Not only them, there were a lot of other companies that were raided and their offices were closed. Again, very sensitive situation for many people who may have been under the process right now, must have paid tons of money. There are all kinds of money being paid to get a visa status to go to these countries. And what will happen to them, nobody knows. While Mr. Sandhu has expanded his business, he has gone into education and real estate. He tried in golf, building a golf resort, but I think something happened and it didn't progress much. But now he's gotten into real estate and education, so he has other options to grow his business big time with his both sons who are his directors.
Right, but he has many people who are counting on this service. He has on his website that he's serviced more than 80,000 people through this immigration company. So
a lot of money he has made in the meantime and become very, very big business person. Bhavna, we have a very good news to share with our viewers. Our own consulting editor, very respected journalist from Chennai, Dr. Prakash Swamy, has been awarded with the highest award by Rotary International in Chennai, and he was personally given that award by the mayor of Chennai. And there were other dignitaries who were there, including the former Director General of the Tamil Nadu Police. And this award, which is called For the Sake of Honor, was given to Dr. Prakash Swamy, and the people before him who have gotten are no less than people like world chess player Vishwanathan Anand, of course composer A.R. Rahman, cricketer Shrikant. So this is really a big achievement for Dr. Prakash Swamy, who at one time was a ferocious journalist. I'm talking almost 20 or 30 years ago. In fact, you can go a little bit further when India's former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, and he did the investigative story, and eventually he moved to New York, and he now reports for United Nations as well, and he's the consulting editor for our newspaper.
Right. He's quite an all-rounder as well, just not being just a veteran journalist, but also United Nations correspondent, judge of Emmy Awards, and
very versatile guy.
Right, and president of the New York Tamil Sangam.
He was last year decorated even in New York State Assembly. So our compliments, our congratulations to Dr. Prakash Swamy.
Yes, a big congratulations.
Last week we declared that Dr. Akshay Desai, that we've been reporting, has been tapped by Republicans for the National Convention. At the same time, they have gone ahead and gone to Dr. Raghavendra Vijay Nagar. He is the second person they have announced. So both parties are kind of now playing ball with the Indian community and picking up the right people to be on their side. And Dr. Vijay Nagar has been generally a part of the convention all along, and they expect they have to go and lobby with Bobby Jindal, and then they have to go back and lobby with Nikki Haley, who are both Republicans and governors, and obviously have strong clout in the community or also in their states to help the Republican Party, because every vote is going to count.
Yes, and their collective responsibility is to assist with fundraising from the Indian communities.
Correct. We have some good news for the people sitting in Ohio and generally for our own community. And Ohio generally has a very significant Indian population. There are about 200,000 Indians living in Ohio.
In fact, I actually moved here from Ohio,
oh,
so from Cincinnati.
Then there will be 200,001. They have finally appointed Bhagwan Satyani as the Ohio Minority Health Commission member. Dr. Bhagwan Satyani has been trying to be on the commission for quite some time, but Governor Strickland, who was otherwise very friendly with India, for some reason had never appointed any single person over there. And he said, I didn't want to give up. And the new governor, who is a Republican, Governor John R. Kasich, he finally relented and of course appointed him. And it's a good thing for our community, and I think they're all looking at him to help once again, like you said, power, position, money, fundraising, whatnot.
Right, and Dr. Satyani is also addressing the fact that he wants to bring Asian American, those particular situations and diseases that they deal with through the forefront.
That's why he's been appointed to the Minority Health Commission as a member. And he thinks especially he has a better idea on the Caucasian side and how their health habits are and how they get impacted. So he could make a contribution from that point of view.
Definitely.
Bhavna, very good news. It feels good when you bring a story to our audience, our viewers on Eye on South Asia, and it kind of catches on as a fire and become big story as well as has a good ending. We have our Pakistani filmmaker. We talked about her, I think last week.
Just last week, yeah.
Exactly. Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy. She is a proud South Asian today because her documentary, Saving Face, finally got the Oscars.
Right.
Very interesting story, as we declared to our audiences, that it's about a doctor who actually goes back to Pakistan and serve the women who have been abused and who have been defaced, especially focusing on face. I think there is some kind of a trend of throwing acids on the faces of women and hurting them. So here he goes back to Pakistan and kind of restructures through surgery their faces and gives them a new identity, as it is called Saving Face.
Right. It's a very uplifting story.
Very, very uplifting story. And Pakistan's Prime Minister has declared that she will be getting also a very high civil award, and she's got a lot of praise from the President Asif Ali Zardari. So it's a very positive story. It focuses on human side of the citizens of Pakistan and a relationship between a Pakistani who is settled abroad.
And so, coming back to help his people.
Congratulations to her. Last story we have is very interesting about the India, Australia, Sri Lanka tri-series. It's happening in Australia. It's really gone into a very strange twist. India was almost out of the tournament, losing left, right and center except for a couple of matches, and Sri Lanka had already kind of made, Australia is already in the finals, it's a tri-series, and Sri Lanka was almost there, but there was a very, very, very remote chance that Sri Lanka has to score 300 plus runs and then India has to score as many runs in less than 40 out of the allocated 50 hours, not only to win the match, but get that extra bonus point. I can tell you, nobody gave India a chance. Odds were all against us, bettors were all on one side. But here, I'm sure the real gamblers made a ball, real money, because they must have bid, as usually, the real gamblers go on the opposite side and they must have bid for India. And you should have seen this game. It was unbelievable game. Not only India scored the required 321 runs in less than 40, but they actually scored in 37 overs.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
This young kid, who is I think 23 years old, Virat Kohli, I think he's from Bombay. He scored a century that was just a fire. Of course, the openers this time came together, between them 33 and 37 between Sachin and Sehwag. They gave it a good start, but he was responsible because I think he had 16 boundaries and 2 sixes. Man, this was a game now they're all rooting for Sri Lanka's, probably losing to Australia and India making it to the finals. By the time people see our news, the decision would be made.
Right.
So we wish them all the luck. Great game between Sri Lanka and Australia, and hopefully India makes it to the finals, which is the final 3 matches between Australia and if India makes it there. That's all we have.
That's a great wrap up, because it just shows to never write off India or underestimate India.
That much is for sure.
Especially in cricket. So.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have for this episode of Eye on South Asia. Keep watching us week after week, same time, same place. Also, find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Eye on South Asia, all one word. And you can also find us on Facebook. The URL is facebook.com/Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vannan. Have a great weekend.
And I'm Suril Hali. You have a great weekend. Enjoy, relax. As I said, sunny days are here. We had a great winter. It was mild, and we look forward to this spring now. Take care.